Om Sri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Welcome students. Children, today I am going to discuss with you about features of an imaginary village, Palampur, agricultural facilities, what kind of main tools we need to produce any goods. It is an imaginary village, Palampur, which is located in Uttar Pradesh state. Let's recall, children, what we discussed in our previous class. Here, Palampur is an imaginary village. Entire village depends on agriculture for their livelihood. So most probably not more than 650 families living together in Palampur. So nearest to the village, they have merged with different towns and cities. Organization of production. So what kind of things we need to produce any goods? We need certain things. The first requirement is land. So to produce any agricultural products or any industrial product, what is the first requirement here, children? That is land. So to establish this machinery or to construct the building or to sowing seeds, for whatever first requirement we need land. The second requirement is labor. So to cultivate this, to apply chemicals, pesticides, and to uh, watering, irrigation purpose, and here to operate the machinery, everything we need labor. So after land, the second important thing is labor. What is the third requirement is physical capital. In this physical capital, again divided into fixed capital and working capital. All these machinery comes under tools, comes under fixed capital. Working capital, human beings, cash in hands, purchasing, this all comes under working capital. Among these, land is fixed. So there is no chance to increase land under the agriculture because land is fixed. How to improve more production in the limited land? For that purpose, we discussed about modern farming method and green revolution by using high yield variety seeds, different chemicals and pesticides. We will get more production in the same field by using multi-cropping system. So these are some measurements to get more production from the limited land. Is there a way one can grow more from the same land? Yes, just now we discussed about these things. So this is about our previous class. In today's class, we are going to observe what are the remaining things that influence the production. What is the third one? Will the land sustain? If we are continuously growing many crops, applying more and more chemicals, how to rid from the land degradation? Land being a natural resource, it is necessary to be very careful in its use. Scientific reports indicate that the modern farming methods have overused the natural resource base. The main disadvantages due to the Green Revolution I discussed in your first part in Green Revolution video. Once refer that video to know the disadvantages of Green Revolution. In many areas, Green Revolution is associated, children, but the loss of soil fertility due to increased use of chemicals and fertilizers. For example, I explained before in 1990s, before Green Revolution in 1950s, 60s, hardly we are getting only for 20 to 30 bags rice, for example, in this from 1 acre of land. Today, from the same 1 acre of land, for example, we are getting 80 bags of rice minimum. How it is possible? By using Green Revolution system. In Green Revolution system, we are using high yield variety seeds, HYB. To get more production from these seeds, we need more irrigation water facilities, as well as we have to use more chemicals and fertilizers to get good yield. So, in this situation, what happened if we are using continuously fertilizers and chemicals, and it causes to soil degradation? That is the main thing. Environmental resources like soil fertility and groundwater are built up over many years. Once destroyed, it is very difficult to restore them. We must take care of the environment to ensure future development of agriculture. So it is not for our purpose. Our forefathers, our ancestors, uh, they given a good knowledge to us, a given good environment to us. But in the process of getting flexible life, we destroy our natural environment. We are using more and more chemicals to get more crops to feed overpopulation of the country. Sir, in this process, what we are going to give our children for our future generations? Polluted environment? Yes sir, no. Destroyed soil due to the chemical using, and many diseases because we are using the products what we cultivated now completely filled with chemicals and fertilizers. Nothing will be there other than that. Understood? Chemicals and fertilizers giving more crops, at the same time they are giving ill health to us, not healthy human. Chemicals fertilizers provide minerals which dissolve in water and are immediately available to plants, but these may not be retained in the soil for a long period of time. They may escape from the soil and pollute the groundwater, rivers and lakes. Again, we are using that groundwater, polluted groundwater, and it damages our health, nerve system as well as bone system. These chemical fertilizers can also kill bacteria and other microorganisms naturally, which gives strength to the plant. Due to these chemical fertilizers, there is no microorganism to strengthen the soil fertility in a natural way. This is land pattern of village Palampur. The consumption of chemical fertilizers in Punjab is highest in the country because the first green revolution starts by Punjab and western Uttar Pradesh. So from there onwards, they are continuously excessively using more and more chemicals and fertilizers so that the land degraded. The continuous use of chemical fertilizers has led to degradation of soil health. Punjab farmers are now forced to use more and more chemical fertilizers and other inputs to achieve the same production level. This means cost of cultivation is rising very fast. So when we need to apply more and more chemicals and fertilizers, we have to buy. So the expenditure of the production also increased. Understood, children? This is the land pattern of village Palampur. How is the land distributed between the farmers of Palampur? Just now you observe the picture. Is all the land bits are same? No. Some places, some lands are small bits, some lands are bigger one. Understood? So that you must have to realize that how important land is for farming. Unfortunately, not all the people engaged in agriculture have sufficient land for cultivation. In Palampur, about 1/3 of the families, means 450 families are landless out of 600 families. Among them, only 150 families belongs to Dalits, have no land for cultivation. Then what about the rest of people? Rest of big lands are occupied by village landlords. More than half of the area of the village is covered by plots that are quite large in size. In Palampur, there are 60 families of medium and large farmers who cultivate more than 2 acres of land. A few of them large farmers have land extending over 10 hectares or more. If you observe only few people, only 60 families, medium and large farmers cultivating more than 2 acres of land. Rest of all there is no land to cultivate in the village. That is the situation of the land distribution in the village. In 1960, before Green Revolution, Gobind was a farmer with 2.25 hectares of largely unirrigated land. With the help of his 3 sons, Govind cultivated the land. How many acres? 2 acres. Though they didn't live very comfortably, the family managed to feed itself with a little bit of extra income from one buffalo that the family possessed. Some year after Govind's death, this land was divided among his 3 sons, so that each and every one they got only 0.75 hectares in size. Even with improved irrigation and modern farming method, Govind's sons are not able to make a living from their land. They have to look for additional work during part of the year. So now how much they got? They got now only 0.75 hectare for each one. That one also not useful to them. Then these people depends on other agricultural works or additional works to get their livelihood. Observe here, these big lands are belongs to moneylenders or landlords of the village. So these lands scattered outskirts of the village, those are belongs to a scheduled caste and scheduled tribe people. The big lands are here only 2 acres of land distributed between some people. Some bits are occupied by moneylenders. You can see the large number of small plots scattered around the village in the picture. These are cultivated by the small farmers. These are the scattered one. On the other hand, more than half of the area of the village is covered by plots that are quite large in size. See here, this entire part owned by only 6 people, and rest of the land is occupied by many of the families. In Palampur, there are 60 families of medium and large farmers who cultivate more than 2 acres of land. A few of the large farmers have land extending over 10 hectares or more, like this way. So this is the land distribution pattern in Palampur village. This is your textbook activity, children. In your textbook, let's discuss. In the picture 1.5, can you shade the land cultivated by the small farmers? Just now I shown the picture to you. Why do so many families of farmers cultivate such small plots of land? The distribution of farmers in India and the amount of land they cultivate is given in the following graph discussed in the classroom. Would you agree that the distribution of cultivated land is unequal in Palampur? Yes. You have to write This all answers in your classwork, children. See here, this is the process: sowing seeds and applying chemicals and applying water and ploughing by using bullocks and everything going on. After these all the things only we are getting our final crop. So many people, families are cultivating such small plots of land. What is the reason? Maybe so they took the loans from the money lenders. If they fail to repay the loans to the money lender, then their lands will be occupied by money lenders. In this way, maximum of small farmers, they lost their land to the money lenders and landlords of the village. This is graph here. 64% yellow one, medium and large farmers. This is cultivated area, and this color indicates the small farmers. Yellow color indicates the medium farmer. If you observe the graph here, 64% clear. 64% cultivated area is owned by 20% landlords or medium and large farmers. Understood? 64% cultivated area occupied or owned by only 20% of the people of the village. Whereas only 36% of the cultivated area owned by 80%. 36% cultivated area owned by 80% of the small farmers. You observe, means nearly two-thirds is occupied by only 20% of the big farmers. Means here this graph indicates us only few people, they have their own lands to cultivate in the village. This is Agriculture Statistics of Glance in 2006. Department of Agriculture and Cooperation, Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India given this graph to us. What are the major cropping areas in our country? So this all green in color cultivating rice and brown in color wheat. So yellow here jowar, and this is forest area completely. That is sparse vegetation here. These areas with predominant crops, so they are cultivating regular crops here in this place. Understood? These are the major cultivated states and places of our India. Who will provide the labor? As we discussed, the second major uh, important thing is labor. We have the lands, we have the machinery, and we have the seeds, but what we need? Labor. Without labor means without working capital, it is not possible to produce anything. So human resource is the best resource, so he can make anything according to his needs. After land, labor is the next necessary factor for production. Farming requires a great deal of hard work. Small farmers along with their families cultivate their own fields. Thus, they provide the labor required for farming themselves. Medium and large farmers hire farm laborers to work on their field. So, after the land, what is the next important thing to production? That is labor. Here, the village people, most of them depends on agriculture labor works. Otherwise, they depends on other agriculture based works or non-farming activities in the village. So these all small farmers have to work in the fields of the medium and large farmers. Farm laborers come either from landless families or families cultivating small plots of land. So these laborers, they don't have any land sometimes they have only small plot of land. Unlike farmers, farm laborers do not have a right over the crops grown on the land. Instead, they are paid wages by the farmer for whom they work. Wages can be in cash or in the kind of crop also. So these large farmers also not paying direct cash as wages to the agriculture laborers. Sometimes they are giving their field product also as the wages to the labor. Sometimes laborers get meals also. Wages vary widely from region to region, from crop to crop, from one farm activity to another. Sometimes we are getting works in the for sowing. Sometimes we are getting the works for harvesting period. So there is also a wide variation in the duration of the employment. So nearly 3 months hardly they are getting 6 months of the works if they have the continuous water facilities and seeds and money. Everything if they have, they are able to get the work only 6 months in entire year. Rest of them they will be without any work and wages. So here small conversation between the two we will see now. It is difficult to find work these days. Only the large farmers hire us, and that too for a very limited number of days. Ghanshyam, the large farmer has just bought a harvester. So we are going to get even less work during the harvest season this year. Last year I worked for less than 5 months in the whole year. So here what happened? Due to the harvester, some of the villagers they lost their livelihood. So this kind of unemployment we call as technical unemployment. This is what we call as technical unemployment. Because of the machinery, a few people lost their employment. We have tractor for ploughing, harvester for harvesting, thresher for threshing, even for removing weeds. Some farmers spray weedicides so that every chance of the employment is occupied by the technology, so that most of the people they lost their livelihood in economic sector because of the technology. This year I will have to look for work in the brick making unit in Raiganj. My situation is not much better. Due to past debit, the money lenders refuse to give me any loan. So what is the main problem here to these people? Money means investment for agriculture purpose. So this person owed the local money lender 2000. I had taken 1000 rupees. Last summer when no work was available in the field, how will I ever repay? I hardly earn enough for 2 square meals per day. Here, for their livelihood only, not sufficient, whatever the money they earn. Again, they are in debt. So due to this debt, many people, they lost their lives. They are committing suicides because of the debt due to the agriculture fields, because they are unable to invest more and more money because of the small quantity of the land. The government banks are refused to give loans to these small farmers. This is the conversation between Dala and Ramkali. Laborer might be employed on a daily basis or for one particular farm activity like harvesting or for the whole year. Dala is a landless farm laborer who works on daily wages in Palampur. This means he must regularly look for work. The minimum wages for a farm laborer set by the government is only 115 rupees in 2011. Fortunately, now it is 180 rupees to 210 rupees per day. But Dala gets only 80 because there is a heavy competition for work among the farm laborers in Palampur. So people agree to work for lower wages. Dala complains about his situation to Ramkali, who is another farm laborer. Both Dala and Ramkali are among the poorest people in the village here. These two people, Dala and Kali. See here, when the population is more but the works are less, then competition between the unemployers causes to low wages. So they are fighting each other to get the job. In that process, they are ready to work for low wages also. Let's discuss. Why are farm laborers like Dala and Ramkali poor? What is the reason? Because they don't have any works in the village. More unemployed are there, but they're so because of that reason they're ready to work for less wages also. Instead, when they work for the low wages, automatically they are under poor. Gosaipur and Mazali are two villages in North Bihar. Out of total 850 households in the two villages, there are more than 250 men who are employed rural Punjab and Haryana or in Delhi, Mumbai, Surat, Hyderabad or Nagpur. Such migration is common in most villages across India. Why do people migrate? Can you describe the work that the migrants of Gosaipur and Mazali might do at the place of the destination? So it is not a problem of today. uh, Due to the crop failures, due to the works, lack of works in the villages, many people they migrated to the nearest towns and cities for their livelihood. Even from our villages also, many of our neighbors they are going to other places for the purpose of work and livelihood. The capital needed in farming. As we told, the poor people are unable to get loans from the bank. Only the big landlords are getting loans from the bank. Then who will provide money for agriculture to the small farmers? There is no doubt at all. They are borrowing money from the money lenders or from the landlords of the village for high interest of rate. For example, if they take 5,000 or 10,000 rupees, they are paying interest rate at the rate of 5 rupees per 100 for every 100. Whereas governments are offering the loans, government banks are offering the loans at the rate of 30 paisa per 100 rupees. In that process, what happened? Money lenders and traders they are collecting more and more money from the small farmers, whereas these big farmers are paying very less amount to the banks so that they will get more surplus money, whereas these small farmers are paying more money in the form of interest to the landlords and traders of the village. The capital needed in farming. You have already seen that the modern farming methods requires a great deal of capital, so that the farmer now needs more money than before. What is the first one? Most small farmers have to borrow money to arrange for the capital. They borrow from the large farmers or the village money lenders or the traders who supply various inputs for cultivation. So after the harvesting, these people have to hand over their crop to the uh, money lender or to the trader. In contrast to the small farmers, what the medium and large farmers are doing, they are using either their own savings or getting loans from the government banks at the rate of low interest. Savita is a small farmer. She plans to cultivate wheat on her 1 acre hectares of land. Besides seeds, what she need to purchase? Fertilizer, pesticide, and she needs cash, some hand cash to buy the water and repair her farm instrument. She estimates that the working capital itself would cost a minimum of 3,000. She doesn't have the money. So she decides to borrow from the Tejpal Singh, who is a large farmer in the village. Tejpal Singh agrees to give Savita to loan at the rate of interest 24% for 4 months. Not for year. 24% for 4 months means for each term how much minimum? 6 rupees interest, which is a very high interest rate. Savita also has to promise to work on his field as a farm laborer during the harvest season only at the rate of 35 rupees. You see children here, she needs to pay high rate of interest to the Tejpal Singh. At the same time, she have to work for only 35 rupees, very less wages when we compare with the government or other outside wages. 35 rupees, but here she is paying 6 rupees for every 100. As you can tell, this wage is quite low. Savita knows that she will have to work very hard to complete harvesting on her own field and then work as a farm laborer for Tejpal Singh. See here the situation of the Savita. She have to complete the work in her own field as well as she have to work in the fields of the Tejpal Singh. And here the harvest time is very busy time. As a mother of 3 children, she has a lot of household responsibilities. Savita agrees to these tough conditions as she knows getting a loan is difficult for a small farmer from the registered bank, government bank. So because of that reason, she is ready to pay high interest rate and she is ready to work at low wages. Here, let's discuss the story. So far, what we read. Read the textbook thoroughly and fill all these blanks. Fill the blanks and read the passage and send to me. Sale of surplus farm products from the village. So after cultivation, most probably they are getting some surplus due to the green revolution. The farmers have produced wheat on their lands using the 3 factors of production. What are the 3 factors? Land, labor, and fixed capital, physical capital. The wheat is harvested and production is complete. What do the farmers do with the wheat? Are they consuming entire crop for their own purpose? No. They retain a part of the wheat for the family's consumption and sell the surplus wheat. So after the self-consumption, they sell their product in the market. Small farmers like Savita and Gobinsan have little surplus wheat because their total production is small and from this substantial share is kept for their own family needs. So it is the medium and large farmers who supply wheat to the market. In the picture you can see the bullock carts streaming into the market, each carrying loads of wheat. The traders at the market buy the wheat and sell it for the to shopkeepers in the towns and cities. So this is after the self-consumption. They sell their product in the nearest towns and cities. With that money, they are getting their own savings. Only big farmers and money lenders. Here, one more storyboard about the Tejpal Singh. Just now we discussed about Tejpal Singh. He is the big landlord, the village. He has surplus of 350 quintals of the wheat from all his land. He sells the surplus wheat at the Raiganj market and has good earnings because he is collecting high interest rate. At the same time, he is giving very low wages to the agriculture laborers or small farmers. What does Tejpal Singh do with his earnings? Last year, Tejpal Singh had put the most of the money in his bank account. Later, he used his savings for lending to farmers like Savita, who were in need of a loan. So, he is giving that money to the uh, poor farmers, small farmers, as a and collecting more high rate of interest, which is more than the bank rate. He also used the savings to arrange for the working capital for farming to the next year. This year, Tejpal Singh plans to use his earnings to buy another tractor, and the tractor would increase his fixed capital. See, so he's earning continuously, and he purchasing different tools and machineries, which is useful to the his field. At the same time, he is giving his tools to other farmers also for rent purpose, hiring purpose. See, in all ways he is collecting money in the form of interest, in the form of the surplus amount, in the form of the hiring for the tractors and his equipment. Whereas the poor agricultural laborers like Savita, he is paying more and more money to the Tejpal Singh in the form of the interest. Like Tejpal Singh, other large and medium farmers sell the surplus from farm product. A part of the earnings is saved and kept for buying capital for the next season. Thus, they are able to arrange for the capital for farming from their own savings. Some farmers might also use the savings to buy cattle, trucks, or to set up shop. As we shall see, these constitute the capital for non-farm activities. This is about the farming activities of the village children. And in next coming classes, I'm going to discuss with you about the non-farming activities of village Palampur. Home children, stay home, stay safe. Unnecessarily, don't go outside, hmm, and keep your premises clean and wash your hands regularly. Stay at home only, children. Hari Om. Thank you.